music was my saving grace at that time. So, um, in fact, when I started getting into the speaking work, I actually have a whole keynote about, it's called Why I Seek Discomfort, and it's all about sort of my musical journey and meeting and playing with Glenn Hansard and all these kind of things. But I tell the story about being 12 years old, and my parents were selling our house that I had grown up in, and obviously it was this hugely emotional time. And one of the things that happened as the house was getting cleared out was this old guitar came up from the basement, which was my dad's old guitar, and strings were all broken and rusty, and I kind of tuned up that guitar, and that was like me falling in love with the guitar. And so you would have met a kid who was putting a lot of focus and energy and trauma healing into playing the guitar. I became obsessed with the Smashing Pumpkins. Were my favorite band, and I like literally grew out my hair. I only wore the zero long sleeve black t-shirt, and I just learned Siamese Dream and then Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness from cover to cover. And so I was kind of like obsessed with music. I was a little bit lost just going through this huge transition with my family, but that was me really getting into music. And I was also a really earnest kid. So I also, a little bit after that, kind of started getting involved in student council and that kind of stuff, and organizing talent shows with like anything to get music happening at the school. So that was kind of me at that time.
Is Siamese Dream is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Is that the best double album of all time? What do you think? It's up there.
It's definitely up
Up
there.
there with The Wall, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But when I was a kid, my favorite double album was the Billy Joel Greatest Hits. But I don't know that qualifies as a as an album per se. But I mean, when Melancholy and Infinite Sadness came out,
That was
that to me,
undeniable.
yeah, it was just the coolest thing, and it had like the giant booklet, and it was just that piano opening to the whole thing was just unbelievable. And yeah, it blew my mind. But I actually like Siamese Dream for me was like my desert island. I just love like
Siamese
Cherub Rock.
Dream had Today on it, right?
Yeah, Tad's Today on it. But my favorite song, we played Today like with my kind of jam band in the basement. But Cherub Rock was, I actually have a recording of me singing and playing Cherub Rock when I was 12 or 13 years old. It's pretty funny.
There's some cool guitar parts on that song.
Oh
Cherub
yeah,
Rock.
amazing. Yeah, and Jimmy Chamberlain on the drums was just like amazing. So I
Man,
loved that.
with your current sound of music, like your sound as a singer-songwriter, I didn't assume you'd be a Smashing Pumpkins fan. So that's pretty cool. I saw the Pumpkins in 2000. I saw them at the Somersault Festival in Ottawa, and unfortunately they had so many technical problems, like equipment wasn't working, like power
Mm,
outage. There was all this stuff where I think at one point Billy Corgan, who at some points in his career had more of an attitude than other points.
right,
And I think he got so fed up with all the equipment stuff that he just grabbed an acoustic guitar and like walked to the
right.
front of the stage. And he's like, I'm going to give you all I can, regardless of what's going on with this equipment. So it was memorable, anyways.
Yeah, and I mean, I will always have a place in my heart for the Smashing Pumpkins, but I think my fandom sort of peaked after Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and then I also was really getting into Radiohead, and then from that I sort of really went down the slope of singer songwriters. But yeah, Smashing Pumpkins really spoke to me at that time of going through my parents' divorce and sort of angst and kind of processing those feelings. That was my soundtrack.
You didn't follow the Smashing Pumpkins into their goth phase
No,
after.
no, really, honestly, it was Siamese Dream, Melancholy, Infinite Sadness. I guess Gish was their first album, which I went sort of digging for, but it didn't speak to me in the same way as those two albums did.